Okay, you're welcome back to the class. So, I want to talk about standard form of numbers. Okay, in our daily activities, we can decide to write numbers as integers like 5, vulgar fractions like 1 over 2, decimal fractions like 0.67, even index forms like 10 raised power 9. Okay, so all of these are ways of writing numbers. Okay, but um we use numbers not only in maths, we use them in physics and other applications of mathematics and real life activities. Okay, so maybe in calculations, it will be very, very important to have a unified way to write numbers so that it will be very easy to compare two numbers. Okay, good. So that way is what we refer to as a standard form of numbers. Now, talking about the standard form of numbers written in this form, a times 10 raised power n, are said to be in standard form. What exactly is a? A will be greater or equal to 1, and a should be less than 10. Okay, what do we mean? We mean 1 should be less than or equal to a, but a itself should be less than 10. That means a can be 1.0, 1.1, 1.2, 2, 3, 3.5, 4, 4.5, 5.5, 6, up to 9.9999, okay? But it can be up to 10. So A has to be a unit digit, okay? Then, what is the value of n? N here is the power of 10. So it can be 10 raised power 1, 10 raised power 3. It can even be negative, like 10 raised power minus 6. So these are what we refer to as what? Standard form of numbers. Okay, so we're going to try to write some numbers in standard form. Okay, let's take some examples. Let's write some numbers in standard form. First, what if I have a number like this? 5,000. Okay, don't forget, we have to get the first significant digit. Okay, that's a unit value, and multiplied by the power of 10. So what do we do? 5,000 in standard form will be 5 times 1,000. Because 1,000 here is the power of 10, and 5 is the first significant digit. That is the first is the unit digit attached to 5,000. So we can actually say that this is equal to 5 times 10 raised power 3. So 5,000 in standard form can be written as 5 times 10 raised power 3. Now, let's take a second example. What if you have something like 25,000? Now, in this case, 2 and 5 are significant digits, but we don't need 25. We need a number that is greater than or equal to 1, but less than 10. Which means instead of taking 25, we're going to be taking 2.5. Okay, so we put decimal after the first significant digit to make sure that we only have unit whole numbers. Not the whole numbers don't run into tens. Alright? So how do we know the value of 10 or the multiple of 10 we are supposed to multiply? We count from the right hand side. How many places from the right? 1, 2, 3, 4. If we want to put decimal, we're going to put decimal 4 places from the right. So that will be times. We now bring 1 with 4 zeros. That will be the power of 10. Okay? So 25,000 is the same thing as 2.5 times 10,000. And that will be equal to 2.5 times 10 raised power 4. Okay? Now let's take another example. Now, what if you have a number that already has decimal in it? For instance, 542.9. How do we write a number like this in standard form? Okay, we'll be having, 542 is already greater than 10. But we need a number that should be greater than 1 but less than 10. So what do? I'm going to move this decimal 2 places to make sure it is after the first unit digit. So that will be 5.429 times, what will be the power of 10? Since I only moved the decimal place 2 places from the right, okay, that will be 10 raised power 2. Okay, because 2 places from the right means I'm going to multiply it with 10 into 2 places, like 10 times 10, 100. So moving it 2 places from the right, the power of 10 there will be 2. So 542.9 is equal to 5.429 times 10 raised power 2. So these are standard forms of numbers. Now, how can we use this in logarithm? Now, we use standard forms of numbers in logarithm. Example, if you have log 5,000 base 10, what we are saying is 10 raised power what? This means, okay, if log 5,000 base 10 is equal to an unknown value, let's say the value is x, that means 10 raised power x is equal to 5,000. Okay? Now don't forget, 5,000 itself in standard form means 5 times 10 raised power 3. Which means we've already written 5,000 is 5 times 1,000, which is 5 times 10 raised power 3. We've already expressed 1,000 as a power of 3. Now we need to, as a power of 10. Now we need to express 5 as a power of 10 as well. Okay? That is where we get our, four-figure tables. Okay, so we're going to be using our four-figure tables in conjunction with standard form of numbers to find what logarithm of numbers.